The gym was empty, the lights dim, and the air smelled faintly of sweat and floor polish. But for Emma Collins, this wasn't just another ordinary day at school. It was the moment she would remember for the rest of her life, hanging helplessly from the rafters, tied with coarse ropes that dug into her wrists. She realized the bullies had gone too far this time. Fear flooded through her veins, but so did something else, a fire that refused to die. Emma had always been the quiet one, the girl who walked through the hallways with her head down, clutching her books as though they were shields. She didn't have a group to back her up, no circle of friends to stand by her side, and that was exactly why the bullies chose her. To them, she was an easy target. For months, they shoved her into lockers, mocked her in the cafeteria, and spread cruel rumors. But today, when they dragged her into the gym after school, she knew this wasn't just another act of torment. It was a test, one that could break her spirit for good or awaken something she never knew she had inside. The ropes bit into her skin as she struggled to move. The bullies laughed from below, their voices echoing through the gymnasium. "Let's see how long she lasts up there," one of them sneered. They left her hanging, helpless and humiliated, their laughter still ringing in her ears as the heavy doors slammed shut behind them. For a moment, Emma felt the weight of despair crush her chest. Tears blurred her vision. Was this how it would always be? Powerless, silenced, forgotten? But then, she took a shaky breath and remembered something. Her grandmother used to say, "You don't discover strength when life is easy. You discover it when you have no choice but to fight." Emma's heartbeat steadied. She scanned the gym, her eyes searching desperately for anything that could help. That's when she noticed the emergency exit light flickering across the wall, casting faint glimmers over the utility closet. If she could just swing close enough, maybe she could find something sharp. With every ounce of strength, she twisted her body, swinging herself back and forth. Her wrists throbbed as the ropes cut deeper, but she didn't stop. Each painful swing brought her closer, until finally, she spotted a discarded box cutter lying on a shelf just within reach. It must have been left there by the janitor. Her heart pounded louder. This was her chance. With a final desperate lunge, she caught the edge of the shelf with her fingertips. Her hand shook violently as she stretched, straining to grab the cutter. The rope dug harder, threatening to make her lose grip, but she didn't let go. At last, her fingers wrapped around the cold metal handle. The bullies had tied her tight, but not tight enough to break her spirit. She sawed at the rope with trembling hands, every slice sending fibers floating to the floor below. Her arms burned. Her body ached, but she kept cutting, and the knit snapped. The rope gave way, and Emma fell, landing hard on the gym floor. Pain shot through her body, but she was free. For a long moment, she lay there, staring up at the rafters, breathing in the freedom she had fought for. Then something inside her shifted. She wasn't just a victim anymore. She was a survivor. Survivors didn't stay silent. The next morning, bruised but unbroken, Emma walked into the principal's office and told the truth. Her voice shook, but she spoke with courage, recounting every detail of what had happened. At first, the staff seemed shocked, even skeptical. But Emma had evidence: the rope burns on her wrists, the marks on her skin, the broken ropes still lying in the gym. Her bravery forced them to listen. The investigation spread like wildfire. Teachers were horrified, parents demanded justice, and the bullies who had always felt untouchable were finally held accountable. They faced suspension, counseling, and consequences they had never imagined. For the first time, Emma wasn't the one hiding. She was the one standing tall, while they shrank under the weight of their actions. But Emma's victory wasn't just in exposing them. The real change came in what followed. Other students, quiet kids, the overlooked ones, began approaching her, whispering their own stories of pain and fear. Emma realized she wasn't alone, and neither were they. What had been a personal battle turned into a movement of voices finally being heard. She started a support group at school, a safe place where students could share, heal, and rebuild their confidence. What began as a handful of kids grew into dozens, then hundreds across the district. Emma found herself becoming something she had never believed she could be: a leader. Still, the journey wasn't easy. Some people resisted change, others dismissed her efforts. There were moments she doubted herself, nights she cried alone, wondering if it was worth it. But each time she felt like giving up, she remembered the rafters, the ropes, the moment she cut herself free. That memory became her strength. In time, the same girl who once hid behind her books stood on stage at assemblies, telling her story with a voice that no longer shook. Her message was simple but powerful. You are stronger than what tries to break you. When you find that strength, you can change everything. Not just for yourself, but for others too. Emma's story spread beyond her school. Local news picked it up, then social media, and soon she was being invited to speak at events, inspiring thousands. What began as the darkest night of her life had become the spark of a brighter future, not just for her, but for countless others. And, though she would never forget the cruelty she endured, she chose not to be defined by it. Instead, she became defined by her courage, her resilience, and her refusal to stay silent, because Emma Collins, the girl once tied to the gym rafters, had cut the rope hand. In doing so, she set herself free forever.